Assalamu alaikum, I'm Aisha and you're watching Samaa News. Here are today's headlines. Iran is considering a proposal to levy transit fees on vessels passing through the Strait of Hormuz, a potential bid to monetize Tehran's newfound grip over the critical waterway through which a fifth of global oil and liquefied gas passes. According to the Iranian Students' News Agency, a lawmaker said Parliament was considering a bill under which countries using the strait for shipping, energy transit and food supplies would be required to pay tolls and taxes to Iran. An advisor to Iran's supreme leader said a new regime for the Strait of Hormuz will follow the war's eventual end. Benchmark Brent oil prices have jumped above $119 a barrel after Iran attacked energy facilities across the Middle East following Israel's strike on its South Pars gas field, a major escalation in the war. Brent futures were up $7.39, or 6.9%, at $114.77 a barrel. Earlier in the session, Brent had climbed more than $10 to a high of $119.13, close to the 3.5-year peak touched on March 9th. US West Texas Intermediate crude was up 27 cents, or 0.3%, at $96.59 a barrel, after earlier gaining almost $4 to trade at $100.02. Iranian aerial attacks have caused extensive damage to the world's largest gas plant in Qatar, targeted a refinery in Saudi Arabia, forced the UAE to shut gas facilities and set off fires at 2 Kuwaiti refineries. Tehran's retaliation against Israeli attacks on its own gas facilities marks a further escalation of the nearly 3-week war. The Saudi Defense Ministry said a drone fell on the Aramco Exxon refinery, adding damage was being assessed. It also intercepted a ballistic missile launched towards Yanbu, the port city that is currently Saudi Arabia's only outlet for crude exports and where the refinery is located. On the other hand, US President Donald Trump has said that the attack on Iran's South Pars gas field was carried out by Israel, and the US and Qatar were not involved in it. Trump also said Israel would not make any more attacks on Iranian facilities in South Pars unless Iran attacked Qatar, warning that the US would attack those facilities if Iran acted against Doha. Trump wrote on Truth Social that the United States knew nothing about this particular attack, and Qatar was in no way, shape or form involved with it, nor did it have any idea that it was going to happen. US President Donald Trump's administration is considering deploying thousands of US troops to reinforce its operation in the Middle East as the US military prepares for possible next steps in its campaign against Iran. The deployments could help provide Trump with additional options as he weighs expanding US operations, with the Iran war well into its 3rd week. A US official and 3 people familiar with the matter said those options include securing safe passage for oil tankers through the Strait of Hormuz, a mission that would be accomplished primarily through air and naval forces. But securing the strait could also mean deploying US troops to Iran's shoreline. Saudi Arabia has issued its strongest warning yet to Iran, signaling that continued attacks on Gulf states could trigger military action. Speaking in Riyadh, Foreign Minister Prince Faisal bin Farhan said trust with Tehran has been shattered and urged Iran to immediately halt its aggression. At a press conference in Riyadh, Prince Faisal made it clear that Saudi Arabia reserves the right to take military action if necessary. He warned that if Iran believes Gulf states are incapable of responding to aggression, it is a serious miscalculation. He said the patience being exhibited is not unlimited, adding that Saudi leadership will take necessary decisions when the time comes. Arab and Islamic countries have strongly condemned Iran's recent attacks across the region, urging an immediate end to hostilities. The joint statement came after a high-level consultative meeting in Riyadh, where leaders stressed diplomacy and collective security. Participants strongly condemned Iran's attacks on Gulf countries, as well as strikes targeting the Gulf Cooperation Council states, Jordan, Azerbaijan, and Turkey. The ministers denounced the use of ballistic missiles and drones in what they described as deliberate attacks on civilian infrastructure. Pakistan expressed full support for the sovereignty, territorial integrity. That's all for now. For more updates, visit www.samaa.tv. Thank you for watching Samaa News.